So we finally got an actual press briefing from Donald Trump's press secretary, Kayleigh McEnany, on Friday, and she is apparently just determined to humiliate herself as many times as possible in the 8.5 weeks that remain before Donald Trump leaves office. She took very few questions, lied uncontrollably, and called a reporter an activist before walking off the podium. Every aspect of the public-facing communications from this administration have been debasing the office of the presidency in embarrassing and shameful ways. And I'm talking about Trump's tweets, Trump's press briefings, his press secretary's press briefings, his cabinet members like Mike Pompeo insisting there will be a transition to a second Trump administration, even though Joe Biden won. It's been pathetic and it's been globally embarrassing. And Kayleigh apparently not doing what Donald Trump has been doing, which is mostly hiding from public eye. She continues to go on TV and now hold a press briefing, hugely embarrassing herself. So let's start with a huge whopper from Kayleigh McEnany claiming that, listen, Trump giving Joe Biden a peaceful transition isn't the issue. Trump was never given a peaceful transition by Obama or Hillary, I guess she means. Imagine that. And then listen to this.
Something that I would note is just we talked a lot about transfer of power and the election, and it's worth remembering that this president was never given an orderly transition of power. His presidency was never accepted. In fact, before the election, his election, we know Crossfire Hurricane was launched by Peter Strzok to pursue a baseless allegations about the president's ties with Russia. That's before he was president, trying to subvert the will of the American people. We know in August, Peter Strzok wrote a text message about an insurance policy against a Trump presidency, once again trying to silence the voice of the American people. In 2016, we know in October that there was a FISA warrant taken out to spy on the Trump campaign. And then the American people spoke, and they spoke commandingly in electing President Trump despite all of the odds.
It's hard to imagine a more dishonest claim about how the 2016 transition went. It's almost like they don't recognize that there's video of stuff. Hillary Clinton conceded the election and called Donald Trump to congratulate him within hours of it being called. Barack Obama invited Donald Trump to the White House the day after the election, shook hands with him, had him in the Oval Office, and said, I want him to do well. If he does well, the country does well. Barack Obama went to Donald Trump's inauguration and shook hands with Trump and then gracefully flew off in Air Force One. This is just a pathetic lie, and they don't even know what to lie about anymore. Kayleigh McEnany made no mention of the fact that Trump lost. They still don't acknowledge losing. Here is reporter Brian Karam trying to question Kayleigh about this, and she just calls on somebody else.
When will you admit you lost the election?
Kayleigh, at one point...
The entire event completely farcical. Here, Kayleigh McEnany smears Caitlin Collins as an activist as she walks away after taking just a few questions.
In 2016 and 4 years into his presidency. Thank you, everyone, for the very good and substantive questions today.
Do you understand that you lost?
I don't call an activist.
I'm not an activist, and you haven't taken questions since October 1st, and you just took about 5, Kayleigh. That's not doing your job. Your taxpayer-funded job.
It's actually hilarious that Kayleigh says she won't take questions from Caitlin Collins because she's from CNN and she's an activist. And yet Chanel Rion from OAN gets to ask these conspiracy black hole questions. And Kayleigh says, oh, Chanel is a journalist, but Caitlin is an activist. I mean, we're living in bizarro world here, quite frankly. Caitlin Collins from CNN actually summarizing it perfectly in a tweet where she said after the press briefing, it's understandable why someone who hasn't done their job, taking questions from reporters in weeks, would confuse someone else doing theirs with activism. This is really all just sad more than anything, and the United States is worse off for it. We have to move past it. We have to start repairing the country. And this next story is about Joe Biden trying to do that, at least as he sees it. And Donald Trump just can't take it, getting very triggered over the weekend once again.